Hey guys, I'm from Northeast Bastion. How you doing? Well, went out fishing actually yesterday. This was, and it was supposed to be a real windy day. But when I got there, it actually wasn't bad. But as you see, the wind does get bad as the day goes on. But this is the best fish of the day. My first fish. Now, this is a new lake in Vermont. I'd never fished before. I figured I'd go try it out for a few hours. And that is the best fish of the day right there. You know, a 3.5 to 4 pound range. I didn't weigh him, but you can see it's a pretty good sized fish. And that was on a jig. I was fishing for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And fishing some of those sloping banks there. There's a lot of trees in this lake, a lot of wood cover, and I finally got a bite. And that was the first one. It was a good one. That was the biggest fish of the day. As you'll see here, like I said, you'll see the wind is really starting to pick up as the day goes on. So that first fish was on a jig. This, I believe, is the second fish in the boat, which was also, yeah, that was on a jig too. Decent sized keeper. That 1.5 to 2 pound range, just, flipping the shoreline, flipping the cover with the jig. As the wind picked up, I kind of switched to the spinnerbait. And this one, unfortunately, this was kind of like a flat that had some grass on it. So I started throwing the spinnerbait and I catch this fish and then I go to lift them and my spinnerbait, as you see, no fish and spinnerbait snapped in half. So, when you throw a spinnerbait, one spinnerbait for a long time and you retune it, they do break. So I just picked up the chatterbait. I didn't put another spinnerbait on yet at this point. So I just picked up the chatterbait and was working this area, and another one was nice enough to bite. So at this point, it's still fairly warm out. You can see it's a little cloudy. Okay, I'm picking up the audio again. Sometimes, for some reason, that kind of popped off on me. But like I said, spinnerbait broke, so I pick up the chatterbait, and then I catch this decent one. So another nice chunker on the chatterbait. And this, like I said, this is kind of a flat that I found, with some grass on it. I'm sure in the summer it's probably a little more thicker grass, but, just some submergent grass under there, and started throwing the chatterbait around and catch that decent keeper. So, when I fish a new lake, I just kind of go along the shore. I only started the big motor a couple times. And I just kind of go along the shoreline and fishing. And I didn't know for sure, but I assumed that this lake probably had some toothy critters on it. And if you saw that flash, there we go. I'm just in the back of this cove. This is where it was actually calm. The wind, this was a protected cove, so the wind was wasn't really a factor in there. Real clear water. And so I'm throwing the chatterbait around, and this northern decides he's gonna bite. So he did do kind of like a roll there, and I was afraid the line was gonna break, but it didn't. So I'm sure there's probably some even bigger ones in there. This was a decent size northern. If you guys are into catching those slimy things, but they're always fun. Especially when you're just kind of covering water and exploring a lake. So decent sized northern there. He got it right in the top of the snout, so he didn't even really ruin my line or anything. So, of course, I do always retire after I catch one of them, but that was the one toothy critter I caught that day. And then I just kind of kept exploring around after that. And then I started catching, just some smaller bass, little tiny keepers, barely keeper size. And I'm just throwing a jig, and I actually switched to a pork trailer there just to see if that made a difference with the water getting a little cooler. I don't know if it really would have mattered. They were biting it with the plastic trailer. They were biting it with the pork trailer. The next couple are kind of like, little 12 inchers. That one, he didn't even want to really get on the camera. He just dropped right off. And so I'm just working, and you can see this shoreline. I mean, this lake is just littered with cover. There is so much to throw at. And I actually, lost a jig, lost a Ned, got hung up quite a bit because there's just so much down there, as you can see. And this is like, the entire shoreline is there. You don't go very far to find more wood or brush. And then the brush is what you get stuck in. If it was just logs, it's not that hard to get through. But all the different brush down there can really hang you up. So, a little, 12-incher, 13-incher, whatever he was, and just kept throwing it around. And then, I kind of bopped around, caught some more small fish. And then I went back to that flat area and worked the spinnerbait again. You can see the wind is a little heavier. And I caught one down there on the spinnerbait. This guy here did a decent keeper. So it was a pretty good day. So, for a cold front coming in, the wind really getting rough in the afternoon, fishing a new lake I'd never fished before, it was pretty good. I would definitely go back there, early in the season and explore the lake. The lake is supposed to have smallmouth in it. I didn't see any that day. but it is a deeper lake, so there is some deeper water that probably the smallies are probably kind of hanging out in there. But it's a nice place, lots of nice cover, and I definitely will go back. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon on YouTube. Mark out. Later on.